Hey everybody, it's Mickey Washington. I am here to basically tell you that I did do a video on the nails, um, and to let you know that it is kind of long, so pop popcorn, whatever it is you need to do. I was inspired by Long Hair Pretty Nails to do actually this video. I watched quite a few people, and I'm going to just give them a shout out in the description box at the bottom. Like if you like, subscribe if you'd like to. I want to do more videos, especially if I come across something that I think would be beneficial. The reason I'm bringing up Long Hair Pretty Nails is because she was trying to do fiberglass nails, and the fiberglass that she had purchased, she's basically bought like fiberglass that you put on a car, not or fiberglass that you use in a tub, a tub or something that's of course made with like heavy duty fiberglass. You really do not want to use that type of fiberglass in the aspect of it shaves off little shavings that are very prickly. They can get to your skin. If you don't wear safety glasses, they can get into your eye. As you hear her state, and I agree, you don't want to breathe them in because they get stuck in your lungs. It's bad enough that as you're doing nails or you're doing hair and you have chemicals and product shavings that you have to breathe them in, or not necessarily, but you may not wear a mask like I sometimes don't. You may not turn your vacuum on that sucks all the stuff in, and stuff just flies everywhere. So I personally do not suggest that you use the fiberglass sheeting that they give you that you can cut and put it on the nail, and then you have to clip it and all the rest of that. You really don't want to use that. You want to use the sheets of fiberglass or the pre-cut silk sheets. Sometimes they even actually come in a sheet. The tissue paper method, all of those methods that you have seen on YouTube before, they work as well. But as far as fiberglass is concerned, I really do not suggest that you use that. That is a professional opinion. And like opinions, everybody's got one. So you know what to do with that. Needless to say, she got a little frustrated with it. Now, I did the video just to give you guys an idea, and hopefully her as well, a way to be able to do them and not feel overwhelmed, not think that it can't be done, not have all those shards flying all over the place, and it possibly endangering yourself. I have no sponsorship, so everything that I have mentioned I purchased myself. So whoever I may have mentioned in the video as far as the store or the website or anything like that, I purchased it. There are pieces in the video where you may see me doing my UV lamp. I cut some of the time because of course you don't want to sit there and watch me do 30 seconds of UV. So I pretty much cut it. Again, I tried to cut the video to the shortest time I possibly could. Even this intro seems long right now. So I'm going to stop here. Thanks to Long Hair Pretty Nails for actually giving me the inspiration to show you guys another way to be able to do fiberglass nails with fiberglass sheets. I still have my eyeballs. I don't have anything stuck in my skin, and I was safe. Again, I hope you guys benefit from it. No sponsorship. Love you, toodles. Bye-bye. Hi, YouTubers. This is Mickey Washington, licensed cosmetologist. And I noticed that as I was taking my nails off, meaning I had on gel, completely gel, with a little builder, my nails themselves, which I had cut down really low and they had grown out. Well, I don't want to cut my nails off except this one. This one is completely gel, and I'm debating on, depending on how these do, if I'm going to change this one. So this one is completely gel, nothing else on it. It's basically polygel and IBD builder to save my nail, which again is under it. I don't know if you can see that. I kind of did a little over just to keep the nail encapsulated. You have to excuse my look. I'm deep conditioning my hair, and kind of a pamper day for me. So there's my nail. There are my nails. As you can see, nice and healthy. I don't do a lot to them. Being a hairstylist, you know, you messing with colors, this, that, and the other. So I hate to have my nails discolorated. So I cut them off. At one point, they were breaking at my apex area, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. So I cut them off. Excuse me. Put an overlay over them with just the gel. So this is this hand, which I pre-started, and then this hand I'm gonna do when I get done with everything else. You can see that one has a small crack in it, and they're actually lifting from the back from shaping them. My nails grow over, as you can see, kind of hooked. So I like shaping them to where instead of it being hooked like this, I shape them till they're kind of straight. Helps me with being able to grip things, as well as, of course, when you're on your cell phone and you're trying to type. These are my nails. They usually grow a lot longer, but this is grow out, and I try to keep them cut down. This one broke completely across the apex, and that's where it's grown out. So like I said, they're lifting from the bottom because instead of letting them curve over naturally, I straighten them out. Or for myself, I should say, when I straighten them out, they have a tendency to get that little curve. I call it an egg shape, which some people like. I don't necessarily care for. I like my nails either squared, ballerina. I'm kind of leaning towards stiletto, but it's not my cup of tea. And maybe tapered. Most of the time they're tapered or squared. I'm feeling the ballerina a little bit more, but I find that when I do the ballerina, apparently I'm a little harder on my nails than I think. So they have a tendency to do the crack on, the crack on the sides and my apex, which hurts. And sometimes if I'm not paying attention, they don't just crack there, they'll crack deeply in the middle and won't crack on the sides at all. So this one is kind of one of those nails that tried to do that. It's very flexible, so it ended up cracking on the side instead of in the middle, thank God, because that would have been painful. This is the nail that I want to concentrate on. I actually, again, took the nails off of these except that one. And I decided to do something a little different this time. What I chose to do is I wanted to do my nails again because, of course, the holidays are coming up. I probably won't leave it this long. If you can see my nail, it's kind of discolored though. And for me, that's fine. I'm going to paint them, and I kind of wanted a little frosted anyway so that it doesn't look like a clear nail. I kind of want it to blend. So therefore, if I leave it like this, nobody really notices that my nail is under it. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, everybody has their preference. What I did with this nail, though, is I shaped it and everything. And I put 2 bases of gel top coat. And I'll show that to you, everything you'll need. Just to give you another way to do a nail with fiberglass. So that your nail isn't real heavy. You don't have a lot of product, but you will have some product, and you can decide how thick you want the nail. I don't really like my nails really thick, so this is the option that I chose, and I keep looking over there when I need to be looking over here. So what I did was I took a nail form, which as you can see, it's still very curved. Straightening this one out a little more. Took fiberglass. I took gel base coat. I took IBD and builder gel and polygel. And as well as prepping my nails, I used a nail form, the little plastic nail forms, the little cheats, and my nail pinchers, which I kind of ended up not using the pincher so much. I kind of started with it, and then I found that just holding the nail form a little bit while it was drying, because I'm only doing one nail at a time instead of, you know, someone else, which would be doing each nail, so that you wouldn't have to hold it. You could just move on to each nail. I use that, of course, my files, and I actually have two brushes and some polymer from Gelish, the slip solution. So I need to make sure I put that down there as well. So the things you will need: your file, whichever file you choose to use. I actually used a 100 coarse grit, as well as I want to say this is a 180 because I've used it a few times. It may have been a little scratched off, so I used yeah, a 180 slash 100 grit file. Those are the two that I use, as well as my nail drill, my handy nail drill on a fine. This is actually the coarse one, but I do have a fine one that I usually use as well. But I did use the coarse to shape the nail. So there's the coarse bit. And let's see. So I used fiberglass pre-cut strips. So of course they're all sized. I used OPI's gel color base coat, which is a Pro Health formula. I used my Band-Aid from OPI. I also used Bondex from OPI. Again, I used the Nail Builder of IBD's hard nail builder, which is clear. I have two brushes, so I have my Polygel brush, which is from a cart. Let me put back. There we go. And then I had a gel brush that I actually bought from Sally's Beauty Supply, which is an IBD brush. You can see it's still wet. And dryer. There we go. And my Polygel from a cart. This one's almost empty because, like I said, I was just trying to see what would happen if I did it on a nail. So I've got a few more that are in the pinks. They're very mood. Usually I mix a few of them together. And I use the builder gel, and I use that to smear. Now, cool thing about that is it actually makes the Polygel smear, once it heats up a little bit, from moving it around, it makes this smear a lot easier without having to use the slip. My IBD top coat when I got done, and I think that's about it. So as I go through these steps, then I'll be able to show you, of course, exactly what I did, and if I make a mistake, and I can tell you how to correct it, yada yada yada. Again, I am not professing to be a nail tech. I can't do nails. It's not my forte per se. I like to dabble in everything as a cosmetologist. I used to do nails. I used to be very passionate about doing nails. But again, like I said, I do my own. And this is just something that I noticed that I tried and I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to do my index finger. And technically, because this hand, I decided to videotape this at the last minute, this hand is already prepped. Yeah, basically another base coat so that it can be tacky. And I also need to get my form, so give me 1 second. Needless to say, I'll just get the ones that I have already set out. I already have these pre-done. I don't know why I can't find my little cheats. That's what I call them, little cheats. So, of course, the nail forms for gel come in different sizes, shapes, colors, yeah. And I actually have two different mixed in here. So I've got to find the correct finger for myself. And I actually like them a little tight so that it forms over the nail. See, these I have used, but I had to, the ones that I had before, I pre-cut them, for, as a lack of a better word. I'd already pre-shaped them, so They fit my fingers perfectly. And I'm kind of upset that I can't find them right now, which is kind of irritating. So we're just going to have to make this work. So I'm going to use a form number 7 on my index finger. And as you can see, it's just a clear, typical form. That's my finger. I'm going to go ahead and add another layer of my pre-gel. And after that, I'm going to cure it. Actually, I'm not going to cure it right away. I'm going to find my size, which is the small one right here, usually for your pinky. My fingers are kind of small and they're long, so I don't really have to use the really wide forms or fiberglass, the precuts. What I do, which sounds really funny, is I actually cut this in half, and this half is what I'm going to use across my apex to make sure that I give my nail some strength. And this portion is what's going to go across my nail. Now, you got to remember that you are using builder gel. That's the builder gel as well as the polygel. So you got the best of both worlds, and then technically you're just adding this to protect your nail. It also makes suck off kind of easy as far as I'm concerned, meaning once you file through the polygel, you get to the fiberglass. You know where the fiberglass is. The fiberglass is actually put on with your base coat, overlaid with your base coat, so it soaks off. All of this is pretty much soak off. So once you get down there, you know exactly where your nail is. You know exactly where the fiberglass is. And at that point, you should be able to just soak the nail off. And then, of course, if there's any polygel or base coat left over, builder coat left over, then, you know, you can always file that off as well. And then you can go from there because you'll know exactly what your nail is. I noticed that when I do the base, when I use polygel between my nail and I'm filing and I'm taking it off, I get a little nervous, and as you should. You don't want to be, you know, when you're doing nails, you don't want to just always feel sure of yourself, because the person that you're doing could be a lot more sensitive than you. Heat spikes, or just sensitivity period for the nail itself. They could have hit it and not really told you, you know, and they tell you it's sore, but you don't realize how sore it is. And of course, until you start filing it and the heat builds up. So for me, I find that putting a piece of fiberglass on the nail, especially if you're doing gel or even acrylic, you get to know exactly where that fiberglass is, because it shreds while you're filing it. And as it shreds, then you know, okay, this is on top of that person's nail, and you're not per se going to keep going over that area because you know where the fiberglass is, and you can work on other spots. So it's kind of, to me, it's kind of like a little cheat. So I'm going to cut. Boy, today is just, like I said, this is a prompt too. I am going to cut my fiberglass in half, approximately about the length I think I want my nail to be, seeing as I've already stuck it, because I know I can always file it down some more. I'm going to go a little extra long, so I'm going to take that one off. And the part that, with these being pre-cut, is so cool, because then you don't have to worry about, the trying to figure out where to cut it, how to cut it, whatever. And you probably should use tweezers, because this is myself. I've done this for quite some time. I usually don't use tweezers. I usually just stick them on and rub it in, and then I do my base coat again, so that goes ahead and adheres. And if you leave a little portion off that overlaps when you cut them, because you can't always cut them perfectly, don't worry about it. What usually happens is when they cure, or as it cures, it will bend over. If it doesn't bend over, you can kind of take it and bend it over yourself. But, oh, I got to pull it up. Sorry. You can go ahead and, yeah, plug. Nala Bear. Hey, baby. I got her. You can just close my door. Yeah, she's in here with me. My Rottweiler decided to come in and visit. I'm in the salon. So, I'm in the salon. So, she's already in here. You can just close the door. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, it's cured. It's tacky. Then what I usually do is take the other portion, go ahead and pull that off. And once I pull that off, lay down, Mama. Once I pull that off, I go ahead and place it on the nail. Now, once I've placed it on the nail, I want to get it as close to my cuticle as possible, but not completely, because that way it'll give me a guideline of where of course, my cuticle is, so that I don't overlay my gel as I'm spreading this on. There we go. I keep pulling it. I'm not trying to pull it. And there. Okay. So, see where my cuticle is and my fiberglass. So I'm just going to line that up, spread it over, because my nails curve a lot. Mama, you are not supposed to be in my video. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my base coat again and cover that nail from top to bottom. Get along my edges. And I'm actually going to kind of brush off into the hangover. Now, brushing into the hangover is okay, because what I'm going to do next is take my size 7. Make sure this is a 7. This is a 6. That's going to be too tight. So I'll take my size 7. Of course, I haven't cured it. Now, what I'm going to also do is take my gel brush, dip it into my IBD, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it in like you would a polygel. What's going to happen is after you do that, you're basically just laying it in, brushing it. Okay, I got a little fiber there. And let's get that wiped off. Okay. So I keep my handy dandy alcohol and have my alcohol actually in a little top cup, because I was soaking my dishes. So I'm going to go ahead and clean off my brush so I can basically start over. You want to have a very good, clean, or as clean as you can possibly get it, brush for this so that you make sure that you can spread everything evenly. Now, of course, you're going to get fibers because I wiped it off on a paper towel. Try to get towels that don't, lint-free paper towels if you can find them. So, now I'm going to take my form. I'm going to place it about a quarter, maybe an eighth away from my cuticle. I'm going to smash, for lack of a better word, my fiberglass and my fingertip down so that the polygel or the builder gel adheres to it. Then I'll take a little bit of my builder gel and gently wipe the inside of my nail end and the fiberglass. What happens is, because my finger's also a little crooked, you'll get a nice little suction. A nice little suction. Thank God that'll come off. Let me put my brush down. And if you have nails that kind of curve, this is also a good way to be able to do a nail that won't curve, or should say curve straight. And again, you smash it down. You could take your pincher at this time and kind of line it up and smash that. Well, I keep saying smash, but smash really isn't the right word. But you pinch, and you want to make sure that you don't have any air bubbles. I'm getting an air bubble right there. So you want to be able to smush, no air bubbles, and cure. Cure for 30 seconds. After you've cured for about 10, smash it down to make sure that you can push out any air bubble that you have. If you have any, then you cure for the last portion of that 30 seconds. Doesn't get hot. I'm not having any heat spikes or anything like that, so that's wonderful. And it's gonna be a little soft, so I want to go ahead and pinch, and hold, and then I'll cure it again for another 30 seconds. And then after I've pinched for that 30 seconds, I should say after it's cured for 30 seconds, remove my trash. Let's see if I can turn this at a better angle so you can see what I am doing a little better. Okay, now I can wiggle this off. And it kind of takes a while sometimes. It doesn't always come straight off. But, bam. There is a fiberglass nail. It's ugly, but it is there. Cure the back or the underside. I usually do that for about 30 seconds. Okay, now it's smushy, especially down here on the end because this was just gel. It is still tacky. You hear a little bit. It feels a little weird now because, again, I wasn't sure how long I wanted this. I am going to go ahead and take some of this craziness off. at least tell, because I know that the fiberglass was on the crooked side because of the way I cut it. I'm going to go ahead and file the nail the way I like it, shaped, which is to take off that free edge, which is how my nail normally grows. My nail normally grows like that. However, I want it straight like that for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off as well. This also helps you to be able to shape the nail the way you want it. While it's kind of soft, you don't need to drill. Just do something really, quick. You don't have to do a whole bunch of filing. See, as you can see, it took some of the filing away. Bam. Nail is straight, or at least the way I like it. Again, probably won't leave it that long. We shall see. In a couple of days. And then what I do, let's close that top. I am notorious for knocking stuff over. Lord forgive me. All right, so that is done. It is nice and sticky. Now, I usually have a dish, which I cannot find. Again, this was impromptu. So I'm going to take my forms and actually put them in another case. You want to use plastic as far as being able to mix these together, because it makes it a lot easier to pick up with your brush and your polygel and your little mix. Now, I usually take more polygel than I do builder gel. Now I'm going to show you what I do for me. I take the polygel, a nice dot like that, or make sure you wipe your dispenser out. Usually take a little alcohol and wipe this out to make sure it's nice and clean, because it's plastic. So I've wiped that out. See, it's nice and clean. And what I'll do is, like I said, now my polygel is actually warming up because it was solid. Now it's a little mushy. So I'm going to take my dish. I'm going to move my lamp, so I don't want to accidentally hit that. Move that as well. My shears. And then I usually take another dab, which is just to show you how to mix it on a cheat, because like I said, I cheat. I don't have time to be doing all these mixing on a thing. So I'm not going to mix it right now. I'll do another nail and show you. Usually what I do is take my builder gel, just enough to kind of cover the brush, and I mix the two together on my nail. Now, everybody don't have to do that, but the reason I mix the two, because they warm up, as you can see. Let me move this finger so you can see what I'm doing. They warm up, and see how pliable that is? That's just like spreading on butter. Now, of course, you don't want to mix it too much because you'll get air bubbles, but if you mix it and then you lay it on your dish, but you mix, and it's so thick, it pretty much will level. I won't say it'll level. Let me not say that. But it just makes it easier. It's almost like taking fingernail polish and being able to see where you put everything. So, of course, you want to make sure you got your sides. You want to make sure you got your edges. And it does kind of level. At least it smooths out. Let me say it that way. You can see your cuticle area. And your edge. And I take a little bit more And I actually go on the inside again because I want to build this up. Now what usually happens is everything that, even if you go over your natural nail, after time, the gel will pull away from that, and you'll just still have your seam from where your natural nail and the acrylic, and the gel and the fiberglass met. So, I think my lighting is really bad. It's too bright. So, needless to say, that's why I keep doing that. Probably should use my camera. But, I don't know if you can see it, but it actually leveled out. It's nice and shiny. You can see where everything is smooth. And I didn't have to do a whole bunch of, or a whole lot of fixes per se. I can look at it down the shaft and see that there it is even. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna take my slip, and I'm not actually not even gonna use a lot of slip. Don't want to waste it. Wet my brush up really good and take a lot of the slip off because this is polygel and builder gel. Now let's just make sure everything is nice and smooth. I got my edges. You can do cleanup if you need to. Sometimes when you get on that, you can't see it, but there is a slight dip right here. Lump dip. You can smooth that out. Again, using my slip. Just gonna brush it, make sure I get close to my edges, smooth those over really nicely. And I am going to cure it. Looking around my edges, make sure I didn't smear anything because you don't want to do that. I'm taking a little bit of my dip solution or my slip solution and going around my edges and wiping my towel off, or wiping it off on a towel so that I make sure I don't have any on my finger. Nice and clean. All right, now I'm going to move my gel. Make sure everything's moved out the way. And I'm going to cure it for 30 seconds. I'm going to flip it over and cure it for another 30 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is continue building. So the little bit of polygel and builder gel that I have mixed, I am going to do another layer and build it. There's my flip. Do my layer and build it until I'm satisfied with the thickness, because you'll be able to see how hard it is, how thick it is. Again, if you don't like real thick nails, this is probably a good option to use to fix your nails or to do your nails. Again, I used very little of each. To me, I don't waste product, and it kind of goes over a lot quicker, or a little quote unquote smoother than your basic. So there's the nail. You can hear that. And if you want to go ahead and pinch it, you can. Make sure that when you pinch from the edges, not in the meat, because my nails curve over. I don't want to pinch too long, but there you go. There's my good pinch. And I think I'm going to move it down just a little bit more. Give it about 30 more seconds and pinch that a little bit. And there. Now, I don't have a heck of a C curve. I think I'm going to turn that top light off. But I do have a slight C curve, which is fine with me. And the nail is smooth. Again, I apologize for the quality of this video. This was a promptu, and I don't usually do videos. I figure YouTube University has, as I call it, has enough videos out there for people. But because this one, I have not seen one done like this, I thought this would be a pretty good thing to just quickly go over. Now, as you can see, my version of Polygel gel is nice and pliable. I'm pretty much just painting it on, and I'm going to give it a few seconds to level out. I basically, again, just painted it on like polish. I'm going to move it out the way. And because it has warmed up per se, I'm not going to use the slip solution on it the second time. I'm just going to let it level itself out. And as they say, I'm going to make it do what it do. So I'm just kind of letting it level itself out. There it is from the side. It's not quite shaped the way I want it yet, but that's okay because I didn't do the other side. I did this side, but I didn't do this side. So it's flipping over, and that's not what I want. But the overall look of it, I'm happy with. Okay. Now, this one, I didn't get air bubbles. This one I did. So you want to definitely, when you mix your solution, I think that's from my, actually that's from where I put my solution and my form. You can't see it because this lighting is made for, let's see if that's better a little bit. My overhead lighting is actually for hair, not for nails. But I do have air bubbles in that. And I know you can't see them, but there are air bubbles. And that's from when I took my form and pressed backwards. I have a line right there where I have small, very tiny air bubbles. Not really stressed out about that. Again, this is for me, not for someone else. Now, if this was a situation where I was doing someone else's nails, I would definitely lightly, gently file that till I got down to the air bubbles. And then I would take my Polygel or builder, because it's thin, and go ahead and fill those in. Make sure that they're closed up very good, because of course once that grows out, especially if you're not the type of person who comes in and gets a fill right away, or you don't file all the way down when you do a fill, which you should. Not file all the way down, but file down most of the gel off of the nail so that you can get a nice even balance. Then you would end up taking that off when you file and do your refill on the nail. But because, again, I'm not doing that, this is just for general purposes of showing you another way to do a nail with gel and a fiberglass and your tip, because some of us are not pros. You know, acrylic doesn't always work for us as well as gel. We're not good at it. You know, we want to be good at it. Some of us just want to build up a different way to get strength without putting a whole bunch of product on their nail. Also, again, like I said in the beginning, to be able to protect the nail when you're filing and trying to take those off, you can differentiate where the nail is and where the gel ends and where the nail begins. With the fiberglass on top of it, you'll know because you're actually hitting the fiberglass as you file, and it'll start to shred and get real fuzzy, and then that way you know, okay, there's fiberglass there, I need to move on to another area. Okay, so I'm going to do another 30.
Oh, excuse me now, Bear. Hey, Mom.
My husband has decided to come in.
Huh?
So I decided to do another 30 seconds, and I'm going to reshape and file it, and I'll come back. Okay, so I have cured the nail. I am going to go ahead and shape it. And I'm actually shaping it with my 100 grip. And then I go through and get it nice and straight. So I'm kind of taking some of that curve out. Stay, Mama. Taking some of the curve out, which I'm actually okay with. Because you can always put it back in. Remember, this nail is not quite... And I don't necessarily have a curve in the top because, again, I put that fiberglass in it. Unfortunately, with this one, because of the curve in the thumbnail, it ended up being really curved. Now, I can go ahead and put a curve in that with some fiber gel, with the gel, and go ahead and put the curve in it. But I'm actually going to shape it because it is a little thick on the end right here, and I don't necessarily like that. And when I shape it, it kind of puts the curve back. I'm just going to make sure that my curve here is good, because you know you get that run over. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad at all. I'm going to lightly go ahead and go over my edges because you know, of course, gel does not take much. Go around my edge. Shape anything that is over. And there is my cleanup to my edge line, which is pretty good. Then I'm going to take this shine off, and I am using a coarse bit. That way, if there's any imperfections, I go ahead and get them out. Keep trying to grab on that left side. So apparently I got something over there. And I will continue to go over and fix the shape of my edge, because it is wonky on one side. I'm going to take that down a peg. I have to balance my finger. And I'm just lightly going over it. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. I'm going to stop there. Now that I've made sure everything is nice and smooth, I have a spot right here that did not get sealed. So I'm going to wipe that off with some alcohol. off with some alcohol. Make sure I get all the dust out of it. That under nail. And I'm going to take my concoction one more time and just take a really thin coat and seal that up. And while I'm at it, I'll go over my entire nail one more time. And if it doesn't like it's sealed, if it doesn't look like it's sealing the way, with a little thickness, what you do is just go back in and spread it with your brush one more time. Let's add a little more. Spread it with the brush. It's not hurting anything. But you want to make sure you get in really good in that crevice so that you don't have any issues. And when it starts to look like it is completely closed in, then you can take your second brush. What did I do with it? Wow. Okay. Take your second brush, little slip mixture, smooth it out. Remember, you do have polygel in this. You want to cure it. Properly. And you're just basically painting like a paintbrush. Now that you know you've gotten your section to your liking, go ahead and clean up any side walls and cure it again. 30 seconds. After you cure it, make sure you get underside just in case something went under there and it's not smooth. And wipe it with your alcohol. Get the tackiness off of it. Use my buffer. Smooth anything out. I don't want to drill it again unless it's absolutely necessary, which I find this is not. Alright, nice and smooth. Wipe it off again. Get all the dust off of it. Because gel can be very dusty. See, there's the finger. Under. Again, that lighting is better. Okay. Well, I have black so you can see the. And I'm doing this on my iPad, which is another. Probably should have did it on my phone. So much better. But there's the original, the first nail I did. And like I said, it does have quite a curve on it. But I still have to take this off. I don't like it. It's not straight enough. This one has a slight bend to it, but it's straighter than my thumb. And it doesn't have this deep curve on it. Trying to move some of that. Anyway, this is the second nail that I'm doing for you. And for the most part, looks like a real nail. All it is fiberglass and gel, and I used, again, a form. So, I filed it. I am going to do one more thing, which is to use my clear coat. And I'm actually going to put some on the bottom, which I normally don't do. But there's my clear coat. It went on nice and smooth. Let's go ahead and cure it. Cure the underside. I don't know why I'm moving my finger around. To me, I think moving my finger around kind of allows me to get all the edges and corners, all the little nooks and crannies. And that is done. That nail is complete. And it actually doesn't look bad from my point of view. Again, this is all gel. This is gel and fiberglass with an extension. I used polygel, the nail form for the polygel, a little builder gel mixed in, and fiberglass. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I try not to make it too long. Had a lot of interruptions, which I got to figure out how to voice over or whatever. And I'm going to go ahead and fix this nail off camera. This one is the way I like it. And just to show you that it is nice and smooth, I'm going to take one of my other gel polishes. Ooh, nice and purple. Yay. And go ahead and polish this nail on site. Make sure I have a tendency not to get my edges sometimes. But there you go. I need to clean up my edges. I also have a tendency not to polish too close to my cuticle, so let's get that taken care of. I usually don't polish my nails, so let's just be clear about that. There. Finished. Now this has to be cured because it has the cat's eye metallics in it in order for you to be able to see the cat's eye, which I'm not going to do. But it is a smooth, as you can see, I didn't have to do a lot of filing. Did my filing at the beginning, and then everything else just took shape. Done. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.